What up, Poppin' T fam? It's your host, Poppin' T, as usual, Poppin' T. Got the almighty Gallon here with me today.
Always.
Today we're going to be talking about the defensive side of the Ravens a little bit. So, Poppy, with that, take us into what the T for the day is today.
So, rumor around camp is that cornerback, first-round pick, Nate Wiggins, has been catching eyes of everyone who's watching. Said that he has been one of the most impressive people at camp, been closing the distance on receivers very quickly, which comes with his 4.28 speed. And this is big news for a defense that needed some youth in the secondary, some new talent in the secondary. So if we can hit on this first-round pick, this defense could potentially look even better than it did last season.
Yeah, and it's very exciting because he isn't a starter right now.
He's not listed as a starter?
No. When I was at practice on Saturday, he was out there running with the twos. So it's been Marlon and B. Steve out there at the outside corners. He's been running with the second group, so that's exciting to see from a guy who isn't a part of the 11-man rotation right now. Have somebody that's ready to go, ready to play if need be. It's very, very exciting to hear.
That is very exciting. How was that practice? Any key things that you saw while you were there? Anything you want to tell the people?
The defense looks good, man. Offense didn't really have anything to do with the defense all day. They couldn't really move the ball except for during the 2-minute drill. I just got a notification on my phone. DJ Moore just got a 4-year, $110 million deal or extension.
How much?
4-year, $110 million.
What is that roughly? Like 27, 28?
He got 82.6 guaranteed.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot. But let me get back to the Ravens. Defense, like I said, just looked great. The 2-minute drill, the offense got the ball down there to ones. They drove down the field, and Lamar got into the end zone to, I believe, Aguilar in the back of the end zone. But yeah, the defense looks exciting, man. I don't know about the offense. Zay wasn't out there, which is probably a reason why the Ravens struggled. Kind of nervous about that wide receiver room without Zay.
Without Zay?
Yeah, without Zay. Zay goes down, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
Just look like Lamar and Bates just don't have that connection just yet.
Well, Lamar seems to have some sort of weird connection with Aguilar, so.
Yeah, hopefully Nelly, likely and Mandrews can get it done.
Yeah. Well, that's a good segue. Defense is looking good, and they're still looking good after Coach Mike Macdonald has left for the Seattle Seahawks and new defensive coordinator Zach Orr is stepping in.
Yeah.
How do you think this unit is going to look without Mike Macdonald's expertise, with Zach Orr stepping in, kind of taking the reins, running the same system, but you think there's going to be major fall off with this unit? There was certainly some players lost, but I don't know if it...
I think the biggest loss is going to be Jadeveon Clowney. That 9.5 sacks, it's going to be hard to replicate from one guy. It's 100% going to have to be a group effort just because of how young the D-line is. But I'm excited for this defense. I know the rest of the world expects us to fall off the face of the earth. But, man, from what I've been hearing in camp, what I saw with my own eyes, this defense looks ready to go. It's a lot of young guys out there, man, and they're communicating, they're talking. They're playing free, playing loose. And at the end of the day, Roquan Smith is still in the middle. Justin Madubuike is still in that front four. Kyle Hamilton is still back deep. I know Marlon isn't the guy he once was, but he's still a top 10 corner in this league, arguably. Brandon Williams doing healthy. I mean, not Brandon Williams. Marcus Williams doing healthy is a force to be reckoned with. Eddie Jackson has fit right into the mix. And I've heard that the ends have been terrorizing the tackles so far.
Really?
Yeah. They said that John Harbaugh had to pull Dafe aside during one of the practices and tell him to kind of reel it back in, to kind of slow down, because they couldn't get the ball off. He was just messing up everything, timing, and Lamar was back there getting terrorized. So I'm excited, man. How about you?
I think this unit has been kind of slept on ever since the season ended. The pieces are still there. I know that Mike was a crucial part in transforming this defense and elevating a lot of players, but I think that a lot of these players just came into themselves under Mike Macdonald. I don't know that they were elevated because of Mike Macdonald. I think they were, but
Yeah.
I think that Matabike finally hit his stride. I think that Kyle finally hit his stride. Like, I think that Pat Queen finally hit his stride. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that the scheme... I know that the scheme elevated them. But I think that a lot of it was coincidence in that these players finally arrived as stars in this league.
Yep.
And with Zach Orr coming in and running the same system he's learned under Mike Macdonald, I don't really see a major fall off. I think that the fall off is going to come maybe with the edge, like you said. I don't think that losing an LB2 is going to be that crazy, especially when Trenton Simpson's coming in, who we'll talk about later. I think the secondary will be better. And now you got a full year of Ojabo and Owe. If Owe can take a step or Ojabo can take a step, I don't expect this unit will skip a beat. And who knows? Maybe we get some of those leaps from, like, the same kind of Matabike leap or Patrick Queen leap from, I don't know, a guy like Travis Jones, a guy like David Ojabo.
Yeah.
Like, we could see some more stars in the making in Baltimore.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think there's a lot of guys primed for that leap, just because of how good the secondary is. Our secondary is deep, man, and I truly believe that.
Nice.
You got Marlon Humphrey, you got Brandon Stevens, you got Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams, Nate Wiggins, Eddie Jackson, Jalen Armour Davis, Sanusi Kane, Ardarius Washington, Trayvon Mullen, Arthur Millette, Pepe Williams, TJ Tampa. Like, it's a deep group. It's a very competitive group, and that's going to buy that front four a lot of time. When there's nowhere to throw the ball, the quarterback has to hold on to the ball. It's going to allow guys to get home. And the thing about Zachary Orr, like, he's been a part of the organization since he retired in 2016. He did leave for 1 year, actually, to go to Jacksonville with Urban Meyer, but after that he came right back. So, like, he played here, he's been coaching here, he's been learning here. He knows what it is to be a Raven. And that's been the emphasis about this defense so far throughout camp. It's looked like an old school fashion Ravens defense. Guys have been flying to the ball, have been aggressive. They said Trenton Simpson popped Derrick Henry in the A gap.
Really?
Yeah, he got up hype, ready to go. But, like, they've been talking like that defense is here, man. The defense has been terrorizing Lamar Jackson in practice so far. I think they said, like, out of his 4 interceptions so far, Marlon Humphrey has 3 of them. Or no, Marlon Humphrey's actually picked them off 4 times so far in practice.
Marlo has?
Yeah, he's picked up Lamar. This is the first week of practice. Like, this defense is going to be ready to play this year. I 100% believe that. It'll be on the offense once again to finish and close games.
I mean, there's talent across the board on this defense. There really is.
It is.
All levels. And I think there's potential to... I don't want to say anything crazy, but, like, I think that the starting 11 has potential to be better than last year. If you can get a jump from one of the edge rushers and a higher ceiling with Nate Wiggins, why can't that unit be better? Like,
If Odafe takes that step, I believe they can.
yeah,
Because it'll be a rotation of Kyle Van Noy and Ojabo on the other side. You also have Adisa Isaac. So like they're a very talented young group. Besides obviously Kyle Van Noy, who's a little older, but like these guys are all like athletic specimens. It's kind of funny, like they all know each other also. Like if that D, like, because you saw like last year and the season before, so I guess 2022, 2023, the defensive line took a big jump. And there were necessarily no superstars. Like Madubuike emerged as one, but like it was a
going
regular
into
group
the
of D-line.
season, yeah.
Yeah, like, but we took that jump. So like, what's to say we can't do that again this season?
Exactly.
As long as it's a group effort, I believe that D line can show their force to be reckoned with because of how good the secondary is going to be.
Now, that's a good segue into one of the questions I had. Do you think Owe or Ojabo will make that league if you had to bet money on it?
Honestly, I wasn't a big Owe supporter early in his career. I was just expecting more to jump from him because of guys like Michael Parsons, like from Penn State, and him being another first round Penn State guy. But he did take a big leap between year 2 and year 3. I believe he can take another same size gap this year. I believe he'll finish with a minimum of 8 sacks. I think he'll be a very close to double-digit guy this year. Because I know Zach is going to keep that scheme. McDonald didn't up and take the defense with him. I believe he's going to be featured. He's going to get a lot of twists and stunt, towards his way. Hamilton is going to be blitzing off the edge a lot. So I think it'll create a lot of opportunities for Odafe, and I think he will take that jump in year 4.
Yeah, I think that we could see it. Owe was sneaky good last season. He might not have had the sack production of some of the other edge rushers, but his pass rush metrics across the board were very good. They were way better than what they've been. So if he can start to convert those pressures into sacks, I think that this D-line could potentially be even better. Owe has all the traits to be a premier pass rusher in this league. He was very raw coming out. Maybe he just needed a little bit more time. We've seen improvement. It's not like we've seen this raw player that stayed raw. I think he was raw in his rookie season, and he's just gotten even better. This defense with a number 1 pass rusher, like a number 1 edge rusher, how do you stop that unit? Honestly,
I don't know.
All this talk.
I don't know.
I've been so excited for the offense all off season, and now that we're starting to dig into the defense a little bit, I might be more excited about this unit.
Yes.
Because
this is the better unit.
They could really be special.
This 100% is the better unit. You have 3 All-Pros.
3 All-Pros.
Last season on your team. Like, you lost 1, but, like, there's still 3 there. Like, and I don't see Madubuike, Hamilton, or Roquan Smith regressing this year. I just don't see that happening. I expect him to play at that same level.
If not better.
Yeah, if not better. So it's just like this. Once again, it's the same talk every year for this team. The sky is the limit. It's on the play calling on the offensive side of the ball to see what happens.
Yep.
Because this unit is going to handle its business. I 100% believe that.
I would love to see another top 5 defense, and if I had to put money on it, I'm 100% betting on that.
I think so. I don't know about first and Triple Crown again.
Yeah.
but definitely a top 5 defense. I believe that.
Um, Speaking of that All-Pro leaving, second team All-Pro Patrick Queen walking out the door, going to a division rival in the Steelers. He is not well liked around Baltimore right now. How do you think that Simpson is going to step into that LB2 role?
I think Simpson is going to have the ability to turn into what we wanted Isaiah Simmons to be. Isaiah Simmons was highly regarded coming out of Clemson. Was a guy that could play every position. Trent Simpson came behind him and did the same exact thing at Clemson. But instead of going out and being stranded in the desert, he gets to play next to Roquan Smith. And I think that's going to be a big help for him. So far, he's already been impressing through camp. They've said it looks like there's been no fall off. Like between Patrick Queen being out there and him being out there, it looks the exact same. They're both flying to the ball. They're both aggressive. And he's been hanging out a lot with Roquan. I think they took a trip together before training camp started. So it seems like they're going to be one. They're going to be one unit that moves together. I think the sky's the limit for Simpson just because he's so fast, so athletic. And we saw what he did last year in the Steelers game. He really showcased that he could do it. And I think with Agent Zero next to him, I think he'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of fall off from what Pat was able to do in his 4th season as a starter. I didn't know this, but Pat missed 0 games his whole career as a Raven. That's crazy.
He was out there.
But Simpson, I think, has the ability to do all the LB2 stuff just as well as Pat Queen did. I mean, he's got the physical trait. He's got that headhunter personality. I mean, with Roquan as that rock in the middle, that dude that's never going to miss a run scheme, a gap assignment, that dude who is going to be very good in coverage, Simpson's going to have the ability to just fly to the football, use his athleticism, hit people. I think that he can easily perform as that LB2. Now, if Roquan were to miss a game or two, I'd be worried. As if Simpson's all of a sudden LB1. But I think that having Roquan there to learn from and to kind of have as a crutch for Simpson, I think that we're going to see a rise from him that you don't often see from linebackers in this league. Linebackers have been taking far longer to perform out of the draft, several years before you feel confident with them playing. But I feel pretty confident that Simpson can play free and be a very good player from the jump.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people forget that Trent Simpson has been here for a year. He's been in a linebacker room with Zach Orr, who's now his DC. He got to learn from Roquan from here. He got to learn from PQ over here. He got to watch this duo play together, and got to learn from these two All-Pros in one linebacker room. And I think that's going to be very important for his jump, like you said. I think he will have a very accelerated jump. And I genuinely think he'll have 80-plus tackles his first year starting. I want to say he might get to triple digits. I believe that his speed is going to allow him to be near the ball every time.
A lot of people are predicting a Simpson. Yeah, I think so too. A lot of people seem to be predicting a Simpson breakout, but I think it's very well warranted. I think Roquan just gives an ability to these LB2s that they can just be special. And Trent, this has been the plan all along. He was drafted last year to replace Pat Queen. They invested high draft capital into him. And at the end of an all-pro season for Patrick Queen, they felt confident in letting him go and giving the reins to Trenton Simpson.
Yeah.
Even after an all-pro season where Pat Queen had 133 tackles, 3.5 sacks, a pick, forced fumble, fumble recovery. Pat Queen was very good last season, and they felt very comfortable handing the reins to a second-year linebacker.
Yeah, that says a lot to me.
Yeah.
It says a lot. And I want to go back to that Pittsburgh game real quick because I pulled it up. And in 26 defensive snaps, he had 7 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, and a QB hit. In 26 snaps.
That's wild production.
So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for Simpson. I don't know how I feel about the number change though. I don't know how I feel about that 23.
Yeah, it gives like Isaiah Simmons. Is he a linebacker? Is he a safety type vibe? You know.
Yeah. We'll see how it looks on the field though. We'll see.
What did he switch from?
30.
I might like 23 more.
I don't know. He wore 22 at Clemson, so I guess that's why he switched down. Obviously, he wasn't getting that from Derrick Henry, so
Yeah.
he went up to 23. But we'll see.
I
See how it
mean,
looks.
not that Madden reigns supreme, but Trent Simpson was my linebacker, my user linebacker in pretty much every game that I played last season. Like, this dude is an athletic freak, if it wasn't
Really
clear.
fast, ain't he?
He's fast, he's lengthy, he's got good size. Like, if he can hit, he could be... the ceiling's... There's no ceiling on how good Simpson could be.
Yeah, he's your ideal linebacker in every way.
Yeah.
Every way. Let's switch it to the man of the hour, though. Our big, strong, 26-year-old defensive tackle, Justin Madubuike, number 92.
I love
really
him,
stepped
man.
out into the scene last year. Was causing all types of havoc in the backfield every play, and you just knew from week 1 after the Texan game that it was like, yeah, he arrived. He's here. Had 13 sacks last year, which was 9th in the NFL. Poppy, do you think he can recreate last season?
I certainly can. Like I said, Madubuike was another one of those players. He was a 2nd-round pick, right? Or was he a 3rd-round pick? I think he was a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, 3rd-round pick.
He's one of those guys like an Owe with the tools,
Mm-hmm.
but very raw coming out of A&M. And for him to be as good as he was last season, as a 26-year-old, I think he could be better than what he was last season. Because he's still such a young player. Like, I feel like he kind of was in a rotation. I mean, Broderick Washington got a contract prior to the season, and then, like, that shows you that they weren't 100% confident because Broderick Washington hardly played last year.
Yep.
Like, if they're handing out a contract to Broderick Washington and then Madubuike goes and does that, like, you think they would have given Broderick Washington that contract knowing that Madubuike would go and do that? So I think it surprised them. Who says he doesn't get better from there? So I think that it's going to rely, or he's going to... It helped because there were so many bodies on that defensive line that could get to the quarterback last year.
Yep.
I think that he'll need help from a breakout from Owe or Ojabo, but I still think he's a game wrecker. I just don't want it to be a situation of like a Jeffrey Simmons in Tennessee where he's the only body on that defensive line and you're double teaming him every single play.
Yeah.
Because that's what we've seen out of Jeffrey Simmons and kind of fades away a little bit, but I need a 2. I mean, I'd love if Madubuike could be your 2 and you have a prestige edge rusher as your number 1 pressure getter.
Mm-hmm.
But there needs to be another dominant body next to Madubuike.
Yeah. As you say that, I kind of sit here and think, and I'm thinking, months ahead. But to me, I feel like our number one draft need right now is an edge rusher. Um, like if you think, what does this team need most? It needs another edge rusher. Um, even though I feel like we spend picks on edge rushers every year. Um, just need that one to break out because, like you said, you don't want him to become a Simmons situation, and just where he kind of fades out. You'd like it to be kind of like the New York Giants, and with Dexter Lawrence, going and drafting Thibodeau, and then going and getting a Brian Burns, so
Hmm.
that your star guy isn't getting double and triple teamed every play. Which I'd love for the Ravens to go get Matthew Judon, because he's over there in disputes with New England right now, with what people speculate to be a contract dispute. He hasn't practiced so far, and stormed out of practice today after talking to who's their new head coach? Um,
Uh,
I'm blanking right now. It's Mayo, right?
yeah, Gerard. Yeah.
Yeah, Gerard Mayo. Yeah, he was arguing with him in a dispute and just left practice.
Really?
Yeah, so a guy like Judon, that bringing him back home, for whatever, honestly, whatever it takes, as long as it's not a first, I don't really care. But I would love to put another edge rush out there, so just he can shine. Um, like I said, the secondary is going to be good, which is going to elevate that front group. But I'm still a little nervous about that group. Um, does Kyle Van Noy really have 9 sacks in him again? Like I don't wanna rely on Kyle Van Noy getting 9, almost 10 sacks again this season. Like
Yeah. No,
I don't know if
I
we really
don't
have him
either.
for that.
But I do think that the scheme helps a lot with creating production out of the rush, but Clowney was instrumental in helping Matabike reach that number last season. I mean, it's very similar to like I do think that Clowney or that Matabike was the clear one,
Hundred
and
percent.
everyone else was just able to clean up because he was just wreaking havoc in the middle. But now you don't have a Clowney. You need someone like an Owe to step up, and I think that it's possible. I do think it's possible. This is a
I
make or
think
break
so.
season. This is a contract season. We see it all the time around the league. Contract year players, they go and they play their best football. We just saw it with Matabike. So
Then that means we gotta pay him. Then that's always the tricky part.
yeah, but
It's like you didn't produce anything for 3 years. Now you just had 13 sacks. You were a first rounder. Now you want 20 plus mil. Do we pay you 20 plus mil? Then he ends up going to the Bengals and pulling the Patrick Queen. And we're back here talking about how we hate Odafe Oweh next year.
don't speak that into existence. You can speak the
I'm,
13 sacks into existence, but
I'm
don't
knocked on
talk about
some.
him on the Bengals.
I knocked on some wood, but yeah. Hopefully, speaking those 13 sacks into existence. But yeah, it's just always that situation is always tricky when a guy doesn't produce as a first rounder for the first couple of years. You don't pick up
Hmm.
his 5th year option. Or you do pick up his 5th year option, and you have to pay him like that. It's just always. It's never fun. It's never fun. So we'll see what happens.
But to answer that question, a very roundabout answer, yeah, I do expect Matabike to be just as good, if not better. But he needs help.
Yeah. Yeah, we just talked in circles like you said. But yeah, I 100% agree. Just don't know who's going to be. Maybe it's Adiza. Maybe he steps up. I heard Malik Ham had been looking pretty good in camp, but I heard they just placed him on the IR today.
Mm,
Um,
that's no good.
yeah, so I don't know what the timeline is, but hopefully he'll get back and maybe he can come help some noise in that group effort of the D line.
Hmm. Get a nice rotation going. Well, we talked about the first level of the defense. We talked about the second level of the defense. Let's talk the secondary. A lot of new bodies in that unit. Lost Geno Stone, who was able to reel in 7 picks. Lost Ronald Darby, who played very well in this system last year. But you did add guys like Eddie Jackson to take over in Geno Stone's spot. You add Nate Wiggins to potentially be the number 2 alongside Marlowe one day. And you add TJ Tampa, who is a very good zone corner. How do you think that this unit is going to compare towards last year? Do you think they're going to be good? What do you think?
I kind of touched on it earlier. We were just talking about the defense in general. But I think the secondary is going to be very good. I think arguably this will be the best secondary in the league. I don't think this defense is going to give up much. I really don't, and I think it starts back deep. When you can have Marcus Williams and Eddie Jackson playing back deep, Kyle Hamilton near the line of scrimmage, Marlowe B. Steve outside, and Arthur Millette in the slot. That's a great group. And then when somebody needs a breather, then you're bringing in Wiggins, running, like you said, a 4.28 40. TJ Tampa is another sub. I think this group is going to be great. Like I keep saying it, and I will continue to say it. This group is going to be great. I don't think we'll miss Geno Stone at all.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like I know he had that 7 picks, but like we've been saying all day, like a lot of these guys' production was them hitting stride and also the scheme. And I think Eddie Jackson is a guy that will come in and profit from this scheme immediately. I think Nick Wiggins will profit from having these vets around him, especially a guy like Roquan. I know he's a linebacker, but like he's going to communicate, so he's not going to be out there lost. Nate is going to know what's going on. Everybody's going to communicate. Everybody's going to be talking to him. So I'm very excited for the secondary this year. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that this unit will miss a beat at all. Eddie Jackson might not be quite the athlete that he used to be, but this dude is a vet in this league. I expect that him and Marcus will be great back deep. This signing allows you to keep Kyle in that star role, which was crucial for the success of this defense last year. And you talked about the same 3 that played on the outside and the nickel in Millette, B. Steve, and Marlowe. But, I mean, if Nate Wiggins can come in and play up to that first round caliber or even a little better, like having B. Steve and Nate Wiggins on the outside and then moving Marlowe back into the slot where he's played very well in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, that is nasty. Think about that starting lineup. You got, I mean, on paper, the ceiling of this defense to me is Marcus and Kyle as like Marcus, Kyle, and Eddie up there, and then those 3 corners, Roquan and Trenton, and then if Owe can hit, have like a substitution of Kyle Van Noy and Ojabo, and then Michael Pierce and Matabike up the middle, Travis Jones rotating in. Like, that is filthy. That's filthy. Like, there's not really a hole there. And if there is a hole, it's linebacker 2.
Yeah. To me, when your first round draft pick, your most important draft pick, doesn't have to play right away, tells me everything I need to know about this secondary.
Mm-hmm.
When you draft a guy in the first round, he's supposed to come and save your franchise about immediately, man. Nate Wiggins don't have to play right now.
Luxury.
That's great. That's great to hear. It's a lot of vets in that room. And you were saying the thing about Marlowe at slot, but B. Steve can play the slot too. So like you could put any combination of Millette, B. Steve, Marlowe, and Wiggins out there in the field, and they'll all survive. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nobody out there that's weaker at one position than the other. They can both all play inside and outside.
And that's the thing about McDonald's and now Zach Orr's scheme. It's like it's very based, as far as I understand the scheme, it's very based on the defensive line are like they know their gaps. Like that's how they call it. It's the gaps. And then anything else behind it is a separate call. So you can really disguise what you're doing in the back end. And if you have all these players that can move around, you can drop Kyle out and move someone else back in. There's so much you can do with this scheme and with these players because they're all so versatile.
Exactly.
The sky's really the limit for the whole defense.
It is, man. I'm so excited. Got a hell of a schedule this year. But that's, what comes with the territory, of winning your division. Got the Chiefs, got the Cowboys, got the Bills, got the Bengals, we got the Bucks, we got the Eagles and the Texans. So this secondary is going and the Browns. Can't forget about the Browns. This secondary is going to be put up to the test. It's going to be a gauntlet this year for sure. And I'm so excited for it because I think they'll hold up and they'll shock the world and shut a lot of these offenses down.
I know, I'm sure every fan says this, but I still feel like we're a little slept on. I think
It happens every year.
this team is going to show some people that we did not fall off from last season.
Yeah. We're used to disrespect, though, man. We're used to it, so
It's Ravens. It's Ravens football.
show them that Baltimore way this season.
Oh yeah. Well, this is a great episode talking about the defense. Expect some more content with us soon with these new games coming.
Yeah.
First
Preseason
one's
starts soon.
2 days, so expect content soon.
Let's go, man.
Peace out.